Here we go. Hello everyone, welcome to Trackside with Tom. My name is Tom Hogan. I'm the owner and operator of Steel Highway Railcams. And I am here today with Evan Weber. Take a bow, Evan, and talk to everyone.
Hola, amigos. Hope everyone's having a great day.
And I'm also here today with Noah Bolte. We decided to bring him back after yesterday, despite everyone's, better interests involved. So, hello, Noah.
Hello. Yeah, no, I was forced here against my will. I hate being here.
Exactly. So, hello to everyone. We've got 10 people online right now. And even though we devoted yesterday's entire program to Griffith, Indiana, we're starting right out with Griffith, Indiana today. I promise we won't spend the whole time on Griffith today, but we got a couple of things that we got to have here before we go too far. A couple, yeah. There's two of them that I want to show people for sure. So we're going to start out with, this is from 9:52 this morning, and quite frankly, this clip is the whole reason why I was so excited about even the possibility of having a webcam at Griffith, Indiana. So what you're going to see is we have got a westbound train coming up on the J. He's going to come in from the left side. And we've got the IC 1027 leading. And then a couple of CN painted units, but the second one, that 5409, that's another IC unit. And then we've got the Bessemer unit, which nobody apparently even knew was running around the Chicago area. But it's a Bessemer and Lake Erie unit that is apparently held captive service in the Chicago area, because nobody ever sees it outside of this area. So, first off, how many Bessemer units are even left in orange paint right now? Do we know?
A few. And that's an SD38, which is like way cooler because there aren't any of those up on the range.
Right.
I think orange ones. Okay, so there's there's 3-ish out in Pennsylvania itself, like running the miscellaneous locals. So there's 3 out there.
Right,
there's
running on the actual Bessemer. Yes.
There's
4 on the range.
Yeah. So
right.
there's 3 running on the actual Bessemer. 3 running on the actual, Iron Range DMIR. There's at least 2 in central Wisconsin on the Iron Hill job. There's this one, and then I think there's one down in Louisiana. So all 3, I think there might be about 10 left, something like that in that range.
All right.
Someone, correct me if I'm wrong, but that is all the ones that I know of anyway.
Well, that's more than I would have predicted, but how many of them, how many camera locations can you actually see them run by? This might be it. So, yes.
This might be, this might be it.
Provided that they get they get their out of that captive service somewhere, right? But that Death Star leading.
You mean provided they escape?
Yes.
Right. Yeah. Provided they escape Kirk and get out of the pull down jobs there.
Do they even have PTC?
I don't know if any of the 38s do. They might. I don't know.
You should send one to Cedar Rapids, because regardless.
Yeah, they should.
Yeah.
11 in original Bessemer. I was close. I was pretty close.
Okay.
I'm gonna take that.
That's an excellent set of deductions there, Noah. Good work. So yes, hello everyone. Welcome to Trackside with Tom. Thanks everyone for tuning in. And oh look, there's CN section truck driving by. Maybe that's not a section truck. That might be like a track inspector's truck going by there. So yes, we have a.
Get a good enough look. Let me see.
It was a pickup truck. It definitely wasn't a section truck. I misspoke. Yeah. Oh, so yes, there's a Railcam, railfanner, and more. Yes, we take questions here. If you have a question you want to ask, go ahead and throw it in the chat, and we'll do our best to get your questions answered. So, all right, we have this roll by done, and then we have another one over here, which I'm going to find. We talked about this transfer yesterday, and we saw it, and our belief was that it was a CN to Galesburg, like Kirkyard to Galesburg train. And I saw it go by the camera again today with a much more interesting consist. And I guess we're just going to jump right into it. It's got 3 BNSF GEs on it, and then a pair of black IC engines. And this is the this is what we believe is the CN Kirkyard to Galesburg job, which does a transfer at Eola. And yes, all right, 261. We're definitely interested in 261. We are going to hopefully go to Muscatine and get him live by that location. And Central Iowa Rail Productions is talking about the UP steam equipment that's being, or UP, I guess, historical equipment that's being donated to Silvis, that they're going to move in November, apparently. 3985, the Centennial unit, the 6936, and then the 5511, which is another big steam engine. All right, what is my goal with Steel Highway? Wow, we're just gonna jump right into philosophical questions. So I'm gonna throw this out here, Evan and Noah. Evan, you can go first.
Yes.
What do you think is the goal of Steel Highway? I'm curious to get your input on this. As we have dead silence.
The goal of Steel Highway. What's that?
I said as we have dead silence there while you're thinking. Yes. What do you got?
Dead silence.
I apparently stumped you with the question.
Steel Highway is to make money. No, to provide a public service while also turning a profit.
All right, that's fair. Noah,
And
if
further,
you
further like building itself.
yeah. Noah, if you had to put down like what's a
I
goal
think
for
the
Steel
point
Highway,
is-
what would you say?
I think it's kind of there might be a couple points, but just the ones that stand out to me are to get as much, camera coverage and railroad coverage and even region, if it gets big enough to that point, of just various different railroads, and get it to a point where people can stay informed about these various lines and trains that run on them, and hopefully, at least this is the primary source of entertainment that comes from Steel Highway, for me at least, is, again, seeing these places that I otherwise wouldn't have access to, and then using the information that we get from these cams to sometimes help with heads-ups that we would have otherwise never had, right? Because it's not like someone's trackside every couple seconds, and not everyone can just stay by the tracks all day, but if we have, 1 or 2 good trains coming, that's enough to, prompt me to get out of the house and try and snag one every once in a while. So those are kind of the goals, and I guess future uses I could see just, increasing over time, right?
Sure. So, here's my answer for the goal of Steel Highway. And it's actually, when the day before Griffith went live, I actually added some branding to the channel. And I really do believe this. The Railfan Network. That is 100% what my goal is as we see the rear of this BNSF CN transfer go by. That is the real goal. It's to build a Railfan network. And because of where I live in Marion, Iowa, you can see the density of cameras that are in eastern Iowa and surrounding areas. And there's no accident to that, right? This is all the things the places that I could find to host cameras within, say, a 2-hour, 3-hour radius of eastern Iowa. And that's 100% correct. I will also tell you, and this is kind of sharing an anecdotal story, right before we got on the program here, I got off the phone with a railfan who was down in the Quad Cities this weekend. He was in Burlington and in the Quad Cities. And he literally could not be complimentary enough about the amount of coverage that we have now. When he was in Burlington, he was able to look at the Ottumwa camera and see what was coming and know how far out it was. When he was in Davenport, he was able to look at Bellevue or look at Muscatine and see what was coming there. And he was able to go down and line up a shot in Rubio, which is, quite frankly, one of the most remote places on the CP that you could possibly hope to find. And he was able to go down there and line up a shot in Rubio because he knew when his train went by Washington, and he knew they were making a meet at Linby because of the information he had off those two cameras, off of Ottumwa and Washington. So that's the goal of the webcams, right? To provide as much information as humanly possible for people to go out and successfully execute their rail fanning. That's the real goal.
Yeah.
So there's a second part to this, right? Which is the magazine. I use the magazine to give people, when they go out and they take all this amazing photography and they need a place to put it, to share it with other people. So on one hand, you have all these cameras, you can get the shots you want, you can find the trains that you need in order to go out and successfully rail fan. And then on the other side, you've got a magazine where you can take your best images and you can get them in print and share them with other rail fans. And if you want to say what's the goal of Steel Highway, it's to promote rail fanning. And these are the ways that I'm doing it. This is how it works, and this is why it works, because people buy into this concept. And quite frankly, the response that I've gotten in the first year of running this enterprise has been absolutely phenomenal. I couldn't ask for a better response. It's just been overwhelmingly positive, with everyone that comes forward to me offering photos, thanking me for webcams that are put up, and all the resources, the radio feeds, the ATCS feeds, all of that. To have it all available just makes it so you can be successful and be out there and find what you want to and have a good rail fanning trip and a good rail fanning experience. And that's really that's the goal. That is absolutely the goal. So, when we have a follow-up question, are we allowed to repost the live streams on your YouTube channel? I would say you want to use the link and you want to direct people to the live stream off of the link. Absolutely, go for it. Yes. I don't know about embedding because I actually haven't done any research with embedding live streams, but I do know that you can absolutely take those links and repost them and make use out of them via the link to YouTube. Yes, that's 100% possible. So, yes, if there's other questions, feel free to ask away. And right now, Noah or Evan, does one of you have a timestamp for me for Washington?
Yes, I do. You're looking for 8:33 this morning, but I thought you said there were two things that we had to look at Griffith before we hop over there.
Yeah, this was the second. The second one was that BNSF transfer.
Oh, right, I forgot. I totally.
Right, with the two Death Stars, yeah.
The philosophical question, I'm going to be honest, it threw me off. Yeah, so, you're looking at 8:33 for Washington there.
All right, 8:33 it is. Let's find the Washington Depot Railcam. And while I'm pulling this up, I am just going to send another thanks on air to the people at the Griffith Historical Society for hosting this webcam, because it's been averaging 40 to 50 people a day during daylight hours, and it's definitely been the most popular webcam through these first 48 hours or so that it's been available. So thank you to the Griffith Historical Society for hosting and participating in Steel Highway. All right, 8. Oh, wait, I think I found it. There it is. So, we're going to see the CP6644 go by. This is going to be a northbound move going from right to left at Washington. And we saw this guy trailing going south, and the theory was he'd come back north leading a couple days later, and sure enough, that is exactly what we are getting. Man, there are so many crossings in Washington.
There really are. And speaking of Griffith and how popular it is, 50 viewers right now. 50 plus, actually. Like, that's just kind of insane, you know, when you think about it. Just the amount of people logging in.
I'll be totally honest, and I was a little hesitant to put this out there in advance. I think that Griffith has the possibility to double the viewership of this YouTube channel. I really do.
Probably does.
So we'll see what happens, because these webcams all have kind of a honeymoon period to them. And what's it look like a week from now or a year from now? But yes. But yes, this is our 261 train going northbound by Washington with some early morning light. You get some reflectivity there off the top of those sandhoppers as they go by. But pretty standard Canadian Pacific manifest. There's going to be a CP8757 should lead the 261 tomorrow. That'll be interesting. We will not be on the air tomorrow, by the way. But something to look forward to as you're potentially out doing your rail fanning tomorrow. A single empty well car there. That's great placement in the middle of a, what? Somebody said, oh, there's some DPU with the Beaver logo.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, one empty well car in the middle of this massive 261. That just makes me, I don't know, it definitely draws a reaction out of me. 13,000 foot train. Yeah. Great place for an empty well car. All right. Anyway, I digress. Hello, everyone. Yes. Hello, everyone who's thrown their name into the comments. I definitely appreciate everyone tuning in. Yesterday, we actually had record viewership for Trackside with Tom yesterday. We hit 55 viewers yesterday. So, thanks everyone for coming back again today as well. We've got, looks like 32 of you online at the moment. So, thanks everyone for checking in and checking out all of the Steel Highway webcams. We're rolling by the 261 here at Washington. So Evan and Noah, if you guys have some highlights that you want to point out, I actually have a little bit of an agenda today because we have an anniversary to mark today.
Oh,
we do, yes. And so if you guys have any sort of an interesting, if you can give me a timestamp off of Cedar Falls West.
Oh, you know, I actually have 2 timestamps from there.
That's fantastic, because we're gonna go to Cedar Falls West and we're gonna talk about a milestone for Steel Highway today. A couple of milestones actually, but one in particular. So
if you want to know the timestamps right off the bat, once the CP train, wraps up here, go to about 1:19 in the morning on the West Cam, and then we will also have another highlight at 11:43 roughly.
Okay. Let's take a look and see. Where did my Cedar Falls West camera go? Ah, I see you now. There you are, Cedar Falls West. I'm pulling up the next highlight while we're taking a look at this one. And I'll probably show the... I think I'll show the 11:43 one first.
Alright. Well,
because I was able to find it more quickly, basically.
yeah. Well, see, I normally try to avoid doing a lot of nighttime stuff, but I think one, Cedar Falls West has a decent enough nighttime view where it's still, I think, viable, and two, part of the reason I want to show that 119 one is because of the horn on the engine. Because I know lately we've had a lot of, at least during Trackside, we've had a lot of Canadian cab Jeeps. You know, we've seen some of the F40s, but we haven't been too lucky with the X L&N Jeeps, and we got probably one of the best ones on the Iowa Northern system, leading a southbound earlier this morning. So I think that's definitely worth checking out.
All right. Well, we're going to go to 1143. This is Cedar Falls West. And if you're in the Cedar Falls area, make sure and check into the Cedar City Creamery. That's our host here in Cedar Falls. And they are definitely happy to serve you some ice cream. They have excellent food there. Well, this is a pretty nice sounding one. What do we have leading here?
Ah, look at that.
Is that the same one leading back west that you were talking about going east earlier?
No, it's not. Well, you know what? It might be. I didn't get the numbers on either one of these. I just saw what types of locomotives they were. But what leads south this morning is not that I guess south/eastward facing Canadian cab. It is an L&N or former L&N with I don't know how many horn enthusiasts we have in the chat today, but with an RS5T, and we don't really have many RS5Ts around this part of the country,
No.
at all.
No, we certainly do not.
I personally love hearing them.
Yeah, I agree with that. So this was it was an Iowa Northern slug set that went by. 2 slugs, 2 Jeeps, and they do have them in married up pairs that they run in sets. And then we had a bunch of Canadian Pacific hoppers on the head end, and now it looks like a long string, maybe even an entire empty ethanol train that we're pulling by here. The Iowa Northern does have ethanol traffic that they interchange with the CN here in Waterloo, just east of this location. So
Yes.
The reason that I bring up specifically Cedar Falls West is because actually this month, and it might even be this week, but certainly this month, this is the 2-year anniversary of the very first webcam which I put up, which was Cedar Falls. At the time it was called Cedar Falls Junction. And this was the very first webcam that I put up. And there's actually a great little backstory behind this. As this guy is literally slowing down, it looks like, to a crawl or maybe even to a stop. I'm not sure.
No, it's just slowing down because it's hopping onto their own trackage.
Oh yeah, 10 mile an hour
That's where
turnout.
that end is at this point. Yeah.
Yeah, 10 mile an hour turnout to go north on the Iowa Northern. Yep, that's right. So I was on a railfan trip with a buddy of mine in June of 2020. And we went all the way out to Mills Tower. We went down the spine line to Nevada, went over to Boone, and then chased back up the spine line and across on the CN. And that second morning, we found out that there was an eastbound grain train, and it was going to show up about 5:30 in the morning at Cedar Falls. So we got up early in the morning, we got our info, we knew it was going to show up, and we decided to go over to Main Street, Cedar Falls, and get the shot of it coming off this overhead bridge. And we're out here, and the owner of the ice cream shop is out there at 5:30 in the morning with us watching this train go by. And he comes over and talks to us a little bit. Jim is his name. And he came over and he said, "Oh, hey, are you guys here to photograph the train?" He was basically like, "Yeah, I love trains." And he explains to me how he has these motion activated cameras up in the top of his building, the second story of his building, where he was capturing train movements by his ice cream shop. And so I went up there and I looked at his setup and I said, "So, you could have a webcam and it could just broadcast out to YouTube and you could see everything all the time and you wouldn't have to go back and review all this footage to see the trains that went by." And so he and I talked back and forth a couple of times, and I went back up there in October and I installed a webcam for him. And we started using it to help him advertise for the ice cream shop. And he really got into it and he thought it was a great thing. So that is how the first webcam went up in Cedar Falls basically 2 years ago in October of 2020. So check out Cedar City Creamery because they're basically the reason why Steel Highway exists right now. What was the time on this early morning train?
119.
Oh yeah, I got to keep going back then. 1:19 in the morning. So 1:19 in the morning. Here we go. I think we found it.
Yep.
And we're gonna get an eastbound move this time. So 1:18 and 30 seconds, and we can see him headlights in all his glory coming across the Cedar River Bridge. And
there you go.
That is a beautiful 5-chime horn right there.
And it is probably, I think that might be my favorite locomotive on the roster, like just because of the horn.
Yeah.
And the fact that, like, you know, they kept they keep using the flashing dictions because I don't know, a lot of them, I don't know, they either stop using them or they've just there's a switch, you can turn it on and off, right?
Right, you just disable it, yeah.
A lot of them have had the flashers disabled lately, and I know a lot of people don't like flashing for pictures because it kind of ruins the look, but I do a lot of videos, so I kind of like them, right? So, yeah, I'm glad it's on the roster. I really like it.
Yeah. So there was another question here in the chat about where do I get the money to put up the webcams? So this is kind of, it's a circular thing. So I have the magazine, all right? And I sell magazine subscriptions, and I publish a quarterly Steel Highway magazine. The magazine revenue that's above and beyond the cost of printing goes into buying webcam equipment. Now, whenever possible, I try to get the host site to pay for the webcam equipment. But even if there's instances where I know that it's going to be a good site, but they don't have the ability to pay, but they have internet, they have electricity, they're willing to do that. So then I pull from the subscription money in order to help fund some or part or all of that webcam location if I believe that it's going to be something that is going to be a worthwhile project. And then there are other instances where I've gone full out and just gone to GoFundMe and said, all right, we need to raise $2,000 to put in a webcam here. And then we go out and we fundraise through GoFundMe and raise funds and raise awareness of it that way. So those are the two ways. But basically, the business model is, in a nutshell, I sell magazines. The magazines help fund the webcams. I use the webcams to advertise for the magazine, which drives more magazine subscriptions, which I've also been pretty successful with. And then that helps fund more webcams. And it's kind of this circular loop that it keeps going around. But you'll notice on all of the webcams, every single one of them says steel-highway.com. And when I'm on here doing Trackside with Tom, I mention it twice in every episode. I make sure that people know, go to the steelhighway.com, steel-highway.com, and check it out. And every time we do Trackside, I try to mention that twice in the middle of the program and at the end. So that's the business model, basically. That's how it works. So yes, donations, magazine subscriptions, and then the hosts, when they're able to, paying for, being able to help pay for those sites as well. Apparently Jacob Hildreth was on this train last night, so he's tuning in and saying that the CN made him wait for 2 hours to get across from Cedar Falls to West Waterloo. So go figure.
That does not surprise me at all.
Yeah.
Well, you know what, infomercial producers, take notes here, because Tom's going to lecture you.
That's right. You want to know how to build a social media empire? using only train photos and train footage. This is the way to do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, Evan, how are
Yes.
you doing over there?
I'm doing good. I've actually got a pretty cool train here on East Dubuque East camera
East Dubuque East. All right.
at 8:07 a.m.
Is there still maintenance away equipment blocking East Dubuque West?
There is.
Not the west one.
Now it's blocking the east, so never mind. Go to the west camera.
Oh, okay.
And I think it was at 8:07.
Let's see here. Yep, I've got that muted. All right, pull you over. 8:07. You know, East Dubuque was the biggest launch that we had prior to Griffith, and now Griffith is the one.
2.4.
Oh, somebody's going across the defect detector, apparently.
Defects. Repeat.
Something must have just gone by. All right, you said 8:04? Was that the
8:07.
8:07?
Yes.
Nope, that's 7:15. I jumped back too far. There was an interesting auto rack train there.
Yeah. I saw that one go by both here and Trempealeau prior to going live here.
Yeah. Shall we watch the auto rack train and then jump ahead to the 8:07 one after that?
Yes.
If you want to.
If I want to?
It's nothing special, I'll say that much, but if you want to, we can do it.
If I want to.
Yeah, if you want to. It's your show. I'm not going to stop you.
So, all right. While we're waiting for the BNSF to crawl across the screen here, how many Railcams are coming soon? Can you tell us the upcoming locations? Well, right now, I have one more location in the works, and I actually have confirmed this, so I can tell you this. Oh, here comes our BNSF train. It's a one-unit wonder. It's got a BNSF swoosh on it, it looks like.
Alright, now let's look at the auto racks, the interesting part of the train.
Yes. And check for some interesting auto racks going by. There's a wagon wheel auto rack. NS. So I'm going to be putting a camera into Port Byron, Illinois. At a private residence there. Excellent view. Now you're saying, what's in Port Byron, right? It's the CP Nitron sub. And you want to talk about this, like the lowest traffic camera I could possibly come up to put in? It's a 10 mile an hour branch line that literally sees one train a day, going back and forth. They go up one day and come back the next day, and up one day and back the next day. And so, yes, we're going to put a webcam in on this Canadian Pacific Nitron sub. However, because of the excellent line of sight and because the channel is not particularly wide at that location, you're going to be able to look across the channel and see the CP running through LeClaire, Iowa. You'll also be able to see them making meets over on the other side of the river at LeClaire.
Yeah.
So
And
we're going to get two subdivisions for one out of this. We're going to get the Davenport sub, which we actually don't have a camera on the Davenport sub yet. And then we're going to get the Nitron sub, which will be literally right in front of the guy's house. And then in the spring, we're going to have a camera in Clinton, which will also be on the Davenport sub. And you'll be able to see, they're going to put two cameras in there. One will be able to look down at the CP Davenport sub, and the other one will be able to look across the channel at the UP swing bridge out in the Mississippi River. At least, until they actually get around to knocking it down and replacing it.
yeah, like they've been talking about for, how many years now?
10. At least 10.
I don't know. They keep changing their plans with it. They keep, it's approved Illinois Environmental. They've approved, and now they don't. It's such a mess. I'm not even holding my breath with it anymore. I'm really not.
Supposedly they started grading this last summer, but I
Really?
haven't seen anybody show any photos of grading work being done on the Illinois side. But supposedly they started the grading work on the Illinois side this summer, but
Unless I'm blind, I haven't seen it because I've been over there a few times this year. I have not seen no progress. I mean, maybe I'm just blind, but
but
you know.
There's a KCS, soon to be a fallen flag, and a TFM one as well.
Yeah.
Which is a fallen flag of KCS. So
Yeah.
we're seeing a circle of life thing here with this train.
Exactly.
No, but the Nitron branch cam, I'm fine with that. I love the low traffic one. Those are arguably, in certain situations, borderline more helpful than the busy lines. Like, you might think, oh, that's
Yes.
right. Well, I mean, would you rather, basically, for busier lines, even if we're not getting cool trains every couple seconds, you can still go trackside and within an hour or two reasonably expect to see something, right? But on these deadlines, you're not going to see any. I mean, if you sit out there for all day, you might see nothing, right? So even though the Nitron branch is, for the most part, 20 ecos, not exactly the most interesting switching power in the world, I think it's going to be incredibly useful, because that is one line I have not actually, haven't documented it yet, so I'd really like to.
All right, here's your 756. Or no, this wasn't even the one.
Yeah, you still got a little ways to go.
Yeah.
Although I had this one in my timestamps anyway, so this kind of works out, but
Couple of H1s in the consist there.
or H2s.
H2s, yes, sorry.
Yeah.
All right, we won't roll this whole one by, because I know this wasn't actually what Evan intended. Let's go back and find, I just didn't quite go far. Here's 807.
And according to K-Train in the comments here, 261 shouldn't pass Muscatine until after 2, so we will not be seeing it today on the cameras, or on the live stream.
All right.
On our live stream. You can see it on the live stream itself if you wish.
Yeah.
Those two are pretty clean.
Yeah, they were. That was a good-looking consist right there.
Yes, I would go crazy. I would chase that train to Galesburg.
Except it's going away from Galesburg. That would be difficult.
I'd still chase it to Galesburg.
You're gonna chase it all the way out to Seattle and then back to Galesburg? Is that your plan?
Yep, absolutely. Sign me up.
Somehow, I don't think this does not look to me like this looks like a Northtown train to me, I'm gonna be honest.
You sure it's not going all the way to Seattle, like all the common trains do? Oh man.
Right.
I love those Belt Railway to Seattle trains. Those are great.
No, I was just gonna say, this looks to me for all the world like BRC NTW.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, those are a couple of the locations that I do have planned for in the future. And I'm going to try to do some camera upgrades in the spring as well. So we'll find more about that coming up soon. Probably, maybe on one of next week's episodes, we'll talk about that. I would also tell people that I'm in the process of finalizing this fourth quarter issue of Trackside, Steel Highway magazine. And for anybody that's subscribed to Steel Highway, that is going to be out in it should be out in the first full week of November. I think I'm going to submit it to the printer tomorrow, and then hopefully, it usually takes them about 8-9 days to actually get it printed and packaged and mailed out, and that should be out in the mail and start arriving in people's mailboxes the first full week of November. So if you are a subscriber, that's something you have to look forward to. If you are not, you should definitely subscribe now. And if you want to even just order a single issue and check it out, you're obviously welcome to do that as well. So check out steel-highway.com and make sure to check out the Steel Highway magazine. It's a very important way that we support the Steel Highway webcam, or Steel Highway Railcams YouTube channel. This is an awful lot of empty well cars.
Yeah. That giant GATX blue box.
Yeah, the high cube box. There's a very old BN hopper with a lot of graffiti on it.
Wow. That corn products hopper with the two little blue swooshes that go in directions. Those are always graffitied out. I have not seen them that clean in forever. And
Yeah.
I'm not even sure if that company still exists, because every single one I've seen is on not an old hopper, but older, not like some brand new boxy Trinity looking one, right? So those are kind of neat. I like them.
So
keep spewing out my preferences here.
that's fine. Evan, what have you seen interest? There's some STL or St. Louis and San Francisco boxcars that just went by.
Really?
Yeah, SLSF. There we go.
And there's the end.
Yeah.
Looks like we got another question, and I think we can take that after we switch to another highlight. If Evan has one, if not, I've got some lined up too. So.
I was trying to find 586 on East Dubuque, but I still have yet to find it.
Yeah, I didn't see it this morning either.
Maybe they didn't go to East Dubuque.
So you know what? Let's stay close to home and let's hop over to the CP side of things here at Dubuque and jump to maybe 8:21 this morning.
All right. Dubuque Junction North.
Yeah, and this is kind of an interesting train because it's gonna have to stop and switch either Marquette or maybe Bluff, and then a local from there could take the traffic to Marquette itself. Assuming this is Marquette traffic, because it looks very much for the life of me like that. But this train at 8:21 here, it's an empty oil train. It's got the same reporting marks as the oil train. It's got the 1x1 configuration. You've got all the same tank cars, the CBTX or whatever they're called. But yeah, but for some reason on the head end they tacked on what looks like Marquette / Mason City traffic. So I don't know. I mean, we can always go back on the other cameras, assuming they're within that time frame, and see where this freight was tacked on, right? But it really does look like stuff that would have come out of Savannah for the north. So kind of weird.
Yeah. All right. Well,
I
we
mean,
got
right off the bat, look at those two first cars. Those look so much like something that would go to Marquette, and
yeah, those are Pattison Sandhoppers. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I guess because I don't think I've ever seen them tack manifest on an oil train before.
Huh.
So kind of weird.
Well, it wouldn't surprise me. That'd be a very PSR kind of thing to do.
I guess so.
Those Gons could definitely be going to Shine Brothers. That's a scrap loading outfit. Scrap loading outfit that's out there on the Mason City sub. They're in Mason City, and they're also in Spencer, Iowa, out on the Sheldon sub. So that's definitely where those scrap cars could be going. And then the empty Sandhoppers, I think that's pretty much a given. Those are, I mean, I guess they could be going to Wisconsin, but it's much more likely they're going to Pattison Brothers at Clayton.
And all these other gondolas look very much like the same ones they use for riprap and whatever else that comes out of Clayton there. So and now we've moved on to the empty oil section of the train. So we can run this by, and there's a DPU. Nothing too interesting on the end, just another CPGE, but it is what it is. It caught my attention this morning.
Right. Well, I'm actually gonna take the opportunity to answer a couple more of these questions.
Okay.
So Greeley, Colorado, we have identified a new host. It's going to be the Greeley, Colorado Model Railroad Museum, and they are working on getting an upgraded internet connection, because they're on dial-up right now. They're getting an upgraded internet connection. The equipment has already been taken down from the old host, and it's going to go up at this new host. We don't know when, because the utility company has not given them a timetable for when, like the railroad reference there. But, yes, the utility company has not given them a specific date when the new internet connection is going to go in. But once it does, the new host is going to be the Colorado Model Railroad Museum in Greeley. They're on 10th Street in Greeley, and you're going to get a good view of some intermediate signals and part of the Greeley Y, and it's going to actually be a much nicer location than even what we had before. So that's the plan for Greeley, Colorado. The other question here, if I could put up a rail cam anywhere in the U.S., where would I want to put it up? I would actually say that kind of defeats the purpose. That's not really even the way that I look at things. I go out to try to identify hosts where having a rail cam benefits them as well as benefiting us, the rail fans. So I don't go into this, you know, I will say honestly, I know that there are other rail fan YouTube channels that they say you have to have a certain number of trains. You have to meet certain requirements in order for us to even consider putting a webcam at your location. I look at it totally the opposite way. I don't care if you have one train a week that goes by. If you want some advertising, if you think that your location can benefit from some advertising on YouTube, and we put up a webcam, that's some of the cheapest advertising you can possibly get. And it's going to benefit rail fans, and it's going to be able to get people some eyeballs to your business or your entity or your historical society, whatever the case is. That's what I'm looking for, is where are there locations where you can see trains and benefit the host. And that's the way I look at it. I don't go into this with an agenda of I have to have X number of trains, a certain number of traffic, anywhere that, you know, you have to be cool enough to be hosted by a steel highway webcam. I look at totally the opposite way. Anybody is welcome, and anywhere that we can make it work, we will. That's my honest answer.
We've got a lot of questions today. We have another one that is, when is the next 24-hour event, and where do you plan on having it?
I will tell you, there is probably not going to be a 24-hour event in 2023. At least not that I'm hosting anyway. And the reason being is that we're having a child in January. And my real job is stay-at-home dad, right? So I don't think it's going to be possible with the first year of having a newborn baby to be able to pull that off. It's just not realistic. I'm going to try again for 2024. And quite honestly, if there are people that want to get together and host one and put the Steel Highway name on it, you're welcome to do that. If somebody wants to organize that, I just know that I'm not going to be able to do it myself. And that's the best honest answer I can give you.
And then we also have another question. Someone wants to know what your favorite Railcam is of all the ones that you've put up so far.
My favorite Railcam out of all of them. My favorite one. I'll tell you, if I'm going to log in and look at one webcam and just say, hey, kids, we're gonna watch some trains for a little bit. For a long time, my answer was Mills Tower. And quite honestly, Mills Tower was the one that kind of put us on the map to begin with. This guy is slowing way down. I wonder if he's going into the siding there, or if he's just stopping at the north end.
I thought so too, but looking further in the feed, I never found a southbound inlet. So
okay,
maybe they cut off what looked like, you know, Marquette cars. Maybe they cut them off and put them in the yard here for all we know. I have no idea.
So there goes the DPU. I can definitely tell you that if I picked one cam to look at, it was always Mills Tower. And like I say, Mills Tower was absolutely the one that got Steel Highway on the map, quite honestly. I put that one up a year ago, basically November of 2021, so 11 months ago, I guess. And that was the one that I always kind of defaulted to. My guess is that Griffith is going to be the new cool place to be. And I don't think that that's really much of a stretch in saying that, but that's definitely the one that it looks like is going to be the new hangout for all the cool kids. Yes. All right. Evan, have you got another timestamp for us? What are you looking at?
I have not been able to really find anything noteworthy.
All right.
I've been through basically everything this morning on East Dubuque, so now I'm going to start on Mount Pleasant.
Okay.
All right. Well,
Noah, you have any suggestions?
Sure. Let's pay Sedalia a visit.
Ooh, yes. Absolutely.
We're gonna see how many states we can cover in one show today.
Yeah.
We have Indiana, Iowa, Illinois. And
Uh-huh.
now we're heading down to Missouri real quick.
We're heading down to Missouri. By the way, we have a new thumbnail for Bellevue 2nd Street, which is it's the CPF units going through the street running, and it's just in perfect light. I just wanted to put it's probably my favorite thumbnail now. But yes, if you check out 2nd Street Bellevue, that's definitely that updated thumbnail is pretty sweet looking. So thank you, Tyler, for grabbing that and making that happen. Why am I? There we go. Sedalia. Here we go. I feel like that could be like a song in a musical. Sedalia.
Oh, brother. Yeah, maybe. Sounds very 70s almost.
It does. It's got the right number of syllables and everything.
Yeah. Let's head down to 10:50 this morning for the eastbound River Runner, and then just about 25 minutes after that, we'll be looking at a westbound stack train.
All right. Here comes the eastbound River Runner with a single charger. Shall we say he's charging across the state of Missouri? Is that appropriate?
You know what? If you feel like getting to that level of dad joke, you might as well call it that. Yeah, he's charging across the state of Missouri.
Look, I've got 5 kids. Number 6 is on the way. I specialize in dad jokes. Don't fool yourself.
I won't.
I forget what I said. I said something that got my 11-year-old to even roll his eyes at me last night at dinner. Oh, you know what it was?
Really bad.
We had breakfast for dinner last night, and I made dinner, and we made bacon and scrambled eggs and toast and whatever, and I served myself some scrambled eggs, and I said, these are excellent. And
that would make an 11-year-old roll their eye. You're right.
That's enough to make anybody roll their eyes at me, I think.
Yep, basically anyone.
Yes. So, Darren is no fun. No singing, no puns, no dad jokes. Come on.
And I say to that, no guarantees.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have to watch Amtrak departing and whatever. If you want to just...
Oh, they're already moving. They're already moving. Look at this.
Okay. All right. Well, you know what? They're timely today, I guess.
Ron Graber, are you on here? This was no Mount Pleasant station stop. This was in and out fast.
That's cold. That's really cold.
Yeah. Oh my. I wonder if that Turboliner car is open. I wonder if they have that.
I don't know. That's a good question. I was thinking the same thing just now. Is that So I'm not really an Amtrak guy. I don't know these things too well. But is that like blank space without the windows? Does that indicate that that's like a cafe car or something?
Yeah, that's right. They have a cafe in the center of the car. Yep.
Right.
And I think those cafe cars are on the rear going east. They don't turn the consist. They only turn the power at St. Louis. Mm-hmm. So they're on the head end going back west. Yep. And all right, so we're going to advance a little bit. We're going to see a stack train, which is actually quite appropriate because Christmas is approaching.
Yeah.
And so, we didn't quite get. Where's the head end power here? Here we go. The gates are coming down. So here comes a westbound stack train, which is going through Sedalia, Missouri.
Yeah.
He must have met Amtrak just outside of town.
Oh yeah. Yep. Whatever the next east siding is from here, that's where they met for sure.
Oh, look at this. Yeah.
XCNW.
Mm-hmm. And then an NS. Nothing too interesting on this train per se, but I just figured that we have kind of skimped out on showcasing actual freights here. Like we've seen Amtrak quite a few times in Sedalia, but we never really managed to get too many freight highlights, so I figured that we might as well throw this one in.
Right.
Just for the heck of it.
Well, and the other side to that, I don't know that there is a lot of container traffic that moves across the Mopac here in central Missouri. From what I've seen, it's a lot of coal traffic and some manifest.
Yeah.
And
from what I understand, I think there's a pair of westbounds and a pair of eastbounds on a given day for stack trains. Well, obviously not. We don't see the eastbounds here, but on the counterpart line, you get them there, right?
yeah, the river sub, which is further north, it has easier grades, so they run the loaded or the heavier eastbound trains on the river sub. Yep.
Right. Yeah. I can't remember the symbol on this one, but I know that it's it had. I think there was a. I'm not sure if UP still runs it this way, but a few years back it had kind of a funny. You know, you put the 4 letters together and it almost sounds like it's saying a funny word, so everyone kind of called it that, right? It was one of those trains, but I cannot for the life of me remember what that was.
Well, I mean, so this train, to get to this location on the UP, I'm assuming that it was not loaded in St. Louis. This probably came down the Alton through southern Illinois and central Illinois, and it probably came out of Joliet, I would guess.
It could be.
So what is it? Is it G4 that's in Joliet?
Yes.
Yeah.
Off the CN there, yeah.
So this is probably a G4 to somewhere train that was loaded or maybe even just assembled at G4, because you can see there's CSX boxes on here. There's some of these that are single stacks. So sometimes you see single stacks just because, but sometimes you see single stacks because of height requirements, either bridge requirements or tunnel requirements out further east. And so those get interchanged to the western railroads where there's generally higher clearances, but they don't obviously take the time to restack them. They just add the cars to the another train and go with it.
Yeah. And then sometimes, of course, home terminals also just put on one stack because whatever reason, we don't know the inner workings of it, but they just do it, like here, for example, right? And a lot of the height restriction stuff, they are, I don't remember the name of the tunnel out east. I'm sure everyone's heard about it, but I believe they're in the process of raising that. So, as time goes on, we might see less and less of the, single stack restricted trains, which run like, the RF&P out east and other lines like that, whatever leads up to that line.
Yes. I know what you're talking about. I also do not know the name of the tunnel, but I am aware of what you refer. Yes. Mm-hmm. So, we are sadly getting close to the end here. However, we do have time for one more roll by, and I'm going to jump up to Neenah, Wisconsin.
Oh. We really are trying to cover as many states as we can get here.
Yeah, exactly. And I believe that this was a train that, if I can find the right one here. Yeah, this was one that would have, I believe that I saw it going around the connection there at Griffith. And it's this solid auto rack train. And it's going to taking the Sioux line up here through Wisconsin, obviously. But this is just, I use this as an example. I mean, it's not really that interesting, except that it's something that went by Griffith. It's going by Stevens Point, going by Neenah here about 30, 40 minutes ago. It's going to go by Stevens Point next. And so to kind of give people this, and there's a lot of graffiti there. Look at that.
Wow.
Yeah. So, to give people an idea of that kind of sequential movement of trains across various cameras, this is something that would have come across the connection to go from the GTW to get over to the J, to go around Chicago, and then go north on the Waukesha sub to get up here to Neenah. And so this is one of these that, yeah, the split camera in Neenah. I'm a big fan of this also. This is the first time we've really tried it successfully. And I'm a big fan of it as well, yes. So, looking just for any interesting reporting marks as this goes by. But, yeah, you know, pretty standard auto rack train.
Yeah. Say something here. We've got, before we close out here, if you feel like answering a couple more questions,
Sure.
I've been asked how long the company's been around, and then also, and this is kind of, I think, a multi-pronged question, because I think I might have seen someone else ask something similar, about horseshoe curve pins. I'm assuming that they weren't here for the, your philosophy little, you know, essay you gave, right?
Right.
That you don't necessarily look for the big locations, you kind of just see what you can drum up, right?
Uh-huh.
So,
yeah. Horseshoe Curve is probably not in the deck of cards that I'm going to be playing anytime soon. For exactly that reason. It's really, they've already got a webcam there.
Yeah.
Oh, here comes a DPU in the middle of this. That's a tier 4 with the high radiators.
Yep.
Yeah. So tier 4 in the middle of this very long auto rack train. So yeah, Horseshoe Curve is probably not happening anytime soon. That'd be my best guess, is that unless they literally came to me and were begging for a Steel Highway webcam, that's just not going to be realistic. No. You know, one of the things that I've joked about before, and I mean, I say it jokingly, but I do mean it at least halfway seriously, is, you know, Rochelle is a great example of a place nearby to the Midwest, which is a real nexus of rail fanning, a hot spot where people want to go. That I've said many times, I don't want a webcam in Rochelle. There's already 2 webcams or 3 webcams already there. Who needs another one? What you need is, if you're at Rochelle, you need a webcam at DeKalb, you need one at Savannah, you need one at East Dubuque, you need one over in Aurora, so that you can see the traffic that's coming to you when you're at Rochelle. You know, okay, there's a train on the BNSF and it's X number of miles away, just went by Aurora, so we're going to see him in a little bit. And that's much more the perspective that I take toward it. And then, how long's the company been around? So I put my first webcam up 2 years ago in Cedar Falls, like we were talking about earlier in the program. I've been publishing the magazine basically for a year now. It'll be a year next month, actually. And so that is, that's basically the Steel Highway as a brand, as an entity, has been around for just about a year. So that's the best example I can give you. And then what I did was, when I kicked off Steel Highway, I consolidated all the webcams under the Steel Highway banner at that time. So, all right. Evan, any final parting thoughts for us?
Nope, that's all I got.
All right. Well, thank you for being with us today. Noah, thank you also for being with us today. Definitely appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And we will sign off for today, and we will be back next week. We'll be back next week with programs on, let me just double check this here. We're going to do 2 programs next week. We did 3 this week. We're going to do programs on Tuesday and Friday of next week. So, looking forward to that, and hopefully we will see everyone back again next week. Thanks for tuning in.
See you guys
later, everyone.